Successfully juggling through your many tasks while trying to be the best version of yourself can be one of the most rewarding experiences of life, yet a rather daunting task. Now join Cresta Durojaiye, Africa's leading productivity expert and life strategist, as she equips and empowers you with practical tools that bring organization and structure to help you be more efficient and live your best life possible. If you struggle with pulling it all together and need someone to handhold you through the process, this is the podcast for you. You're listening to Life Lessons with Cresta Durojaiye.
Hello and welcome again to the Life Lessons podcast. This week we're going to be sharing on something called the Impostor Syndrome. Now, some of us may be familiar with it and others, well, maybe not. We spoke about it extensively in episode, 25, but from the angle of when life doesn't measure up. So it would help if you listen to it again. Now, I am very familiar with this syndrome. Yes. In fact, let me help explain this. That is why this podcast is called the Life Lessons with Cresta Durojaiye, because I'm sharing with you lessons I've learned from my life's experiences. So when you hear me say I'm familiar with it, I am truly and indeed familiar with it. Now, I have been there myself, and I can tell you for free that the imposter syndrome is a real threat and a hindrance to productivity. It's a serious deterrent to becoming the best productive version of yourself. So what is it all about and what does it really mean? The imposter syndrome is that persistent inability to believe that your success is deserved or has been, legitimately achieved as a result of your own efforts or skills. Sometimes it could just be that feeling, that consistent feeling that you don't measure up. Regardless of how highly qualified you are, you just feel you don't measure up. You constantly, second guess your abilities, your skills, your expertise, your strength. You constantly second guess them. You just don't feel enough in and of yourself. Now, this syndrome is so real that people struggle with it without knowing it. Some people don't even know it exists. Some people are not aware that there's even a name or anything to it. In fact, recent studies suggest that about 70% of people either have experienced or will experience at least one episode of imposter syndrome in their lifetime. Now, what are some signs of imposter syndrome so that you can identify it very easily? One, you find it difficult to accept praise. When you're praised for something, you always just brush it off like it's not a big deal. Number two, you work yourself too hard to the bones because you're constantly trying to prove that you actually have that skill or expertise. You try too hard. Number three, failure isn't an option for you. So when you fail or when you don't get something right, you really beat yourself up. Oh my God, that used to be me. Number four, you feel like you're a fake or a fraud. So when they say to you, oh, wow, the productivity expert, for example, or the building expert or the art expert, you always want to immediately brush it off by saying, oh, no, don't call me an expert. I'm just into drawing. I'm just into, No, you feel like you're a fake or a fraud. That is a sign of imposter syndrome. Number five, you consistently feel inadequate. You just feel that you are not, good enough. You don't measure up. Even when everyone around you feels that, wow, this is so you. I think you should do this. You feel that you don't have it. You feel you can't do it. You just don't measure up. Now, what are some tips to help overcome the imposter syndrome? First and most important of all, acknowledge that it is there. Acknowledge that you have it and confront it. It helps you realistically deal with it and come to terms with how you can overcome it. Number two, you have to begin to believe in yourself. Believe enough to accept that, that you indeed have those skills, those talents, the expertise that sometimes you're so running away from and shying away from. Believe that you truly have it and that you deserve to be valued for those skills and expertise and talents. Number 3, if you are overwhelmed by it, speak to a professional. Sometimes some people are able to handle issues themselves and go through some tips or some helpful directions and they can make it happen. But if you feel that on your own, you're unable to, handle it, then seek professional help. What a professional will do is that they will work with you to figure out where and, how it all started, how the cycle can be broken, and, what's in all of the things that you're troubled about, what is perception and what is real, so that you can sort it out and get back on track. I had to do that myself. I had to sit down, but in this case with someone I trusted, a friend, and we had to backtrack until we figured out where it all began. And immediately we discovered that it became easier to handle. Number 4, stop covering it up. There's no shame in admitting that you struggle with a syndrome or with anything. Okay, let's not call it a syndrome because maybe that makes it sound heavy and like a disease. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with admitting that you struggle with something or a challenge. Now, be open and be honest about it. I had to do that. I had to be open to 2 people that I trusted. So maybe it would help if you started with someone you trust. And what happens is every time it's about to creep up on me, even when I don't notice it, they figure it out and they immediately address it. So they help me walk through it. Stop covering it up. Open it up and it's easier to handle it. Now, accept praise. Number 5, accept praise. Especially when it has to do with your accomplishments and something that is related to your skills or your talents. Most times we shy away from that. Remember that when it comes to professionalism, if someone is people actually rarely say to you in the professional landscape that, oh, you're an expert. Oh, you're good in this. Oh, gosh, you're amazing in that. But when you hear it in that environment, know that it is indeed for real and accept it, absorb it. Saying no and shying away from it is not humility. In fact, I can tell you for free, that used to be my forte. I was chief of staff for humility in Impostor Syndrome matters. I could be negatively humble to a fault. When people praise me, I really just brush it off like it's not a big deal. In fact, I turn it around and start trying to praise them. So we need to, in fact, I say be gone with that false ideology. Speaking of be gone, let me make you laugh. A few weeks ago, I was supposed to meet with someone I held in high regard in relation to my productivity expertise. So I just felt, I began to second guess my abilities and I felt, oh my God, am I sure I'm not going to mess this thing up? Am I not going to fail? And I thought to share with one of the people that hold me accountable. And I thought I was going to get, I thought I was going to get a long message of encouragement, or the person was going to call me and pray with me. And the WhatsApp message came in, and when I opened it, it just said, Impostor Syndrome be gone. I'm like, oh my goodness, was that a devil being cast out of me or something? But bottom line, I burst out laughing and I realized that indeed that was the imposter syndrome trying to creep up on me again. So I immediately addressed it and brushed myself up together. So I'll leave you checking the closet or cupboard of your life for any possible imposter syndrome skeleton that may just be lurking around that you need to deal with. Deal with it, confront it, and begin to work towards brushing it out of your life for good. And I would love to hear your experiences and encounters. You never know who it will encourage. Please share with me. Now, cheers and have a truly amazing and productive week.
If you enjoyed this episode of Life Lessons with Cresta Durojaiye, now don't forget to leave a comment and of course, share with those you love.